This is your weekly market prep for February 18th. Last week, absolute banger. Serious profits made last week. Many of you all in the Discord hit your first 5-figure and 6-figure weeks and days. We planned for it. We had our targets and we traded it using the system VVP. This is what I use. This is what I train. It is the system that I've developed to show you where to focus in the market for the major moves to trade options and futures. KD for the Wealth Wells. I'm going to give it to you straight. We're going to discuss what we can look forward to, key levels, market moving events. We're going to discuss what happened last week. We're going to discuss the VVP indicator. I've got training for that as well. It is a superior indicator, volume based. We're going to talk about the Wealth Wells volume profile, how we used all of that, and how I developed training in the Discord prior to Friday of last week that allowed a lot of people to crush this thing and make a lot of money. Are you ready? All right, let's get it. Okay, so as stated, this is your weekly prep for February 18th, the week of. Of course, we'll get into it. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about last week's action. We'll talk about the news, the sentiment. Then we'll talk about what we can expect this week. All right, sentiments and levels of plan. We'll talk real briefly about what people are saying about my training, this Discord myself. What am I using to make my trading life simpler? Right now, I have indicators in place to help you to simplify my system. All right. They do not replace you. They simply help you understand where the actionable signals are to get your view condensed down to one chart so that you can absolutely crush this thing and come out of the market profitable every single day in as simple of a fashion as possible. And then we'll talk about the training that everyone's raving about that has helped me help you to become 6-figure earners. We are pumping them out now, and we're happy about that. And so we want to do more. We want to help more get to the level. For me, it's just all about bragging rights and the proof that my system works. I told you in my first video, I would pull back the curtain for Wall Street. So if you listen, you get to where you need to be. So we'll talk about the free and paid training to improve. All right. So the major events I'm looking for this week: FOMC meeting minutes, PMI, Fed talk, and the release of the leading indicators that's coming out this week. All right. So here's our data event or market and major data events sheet here for what's going to happen. Of course, President's Day was Monday. Leading indicators will drop 10 a.m. Now the market is already getting some action here. All right. So I've already got some targets here set. So by the time we get to the levels, that is, if you're trading right now, then you've already got the levels from the VVP indicator in our previous week there. So you should be taking those to the target. You can come out this just this little overnight session with a couple $1,000 pretty simply. Because the sell-off has not completed itself just yet. Right now, as we go into the morning session, I'm going to give you a free one right now. You should be looking at that 3 and that 6 o'clock time frame. I cover those setups and how to day trade with a full-time job. My ebook with paired digital training. Go ahead and grab it. You can find it on the site. All right. So we've got some Fed talks there. We've got a home sales. Now we're going to be really looking at that. Now, come 2025, if we don't have a, I'll tell you right now, we're going to be watching investors as well. They're going to be watching really the Fed, the delay in their plans to consider interest rate decreasing and how they're going to adjust that. They're going to be in a pinch and they're going to have to make a decision. So, and that's going to affect the economy's debt. That's going to affect commercial real estate, which is going to obviously affect residential side of things. So get ready. It's going to be an interesting year. All right. But this is what we can look for this week. All right. And then Friday, we should round the week out nicely by getting to our targets. OK, Fed talk. Here you go. All right. Right there on your screen. We've got Bowman, Jefferson, Waller, and some others filling in there talking about the U.S. economy, monetary policy. Thursday should be pretty much of a banger. Right. A lot of people bumping their gums. So I expect the market in this overnight session right now. I expect Tuesday, by the time we wake up and we get underway Tuesday, certainly by Thursday after market, for the market to get to its target before these individuals start to talk. And then once the other data comes out, we're going to continue down even further or get to wherever we're trying to get to. We'll talk about the plan in a minute. All right. So here's what to watch for. All right. So we got a couple of things to talk about now. So pay attention and understand how this relates to the market. So let me just say this. All right. These weekly preps are for one group and one group only. That's the killer whales. All right. It's for the killer whales, those who are in my private killer whales tier 3 access. Okay. There's a link attached to this video. You can join the killer whales there. But let me just give you a quick little look-see. My levels and thesis is posted here. We're usually on point. And then we've got those inside the channel with my call-outs, trade discussion, and breakdown. I do some live training, and I'm doing more of that now where we do live trading, screen share, Zoom access, and then I'm also doing the live training. We did one last week so especially for some of you folks that's new. But folks are getting some major moves there, major moves. Now, if you want to get a sneak peek of what's happening here, we do give you a little bit of the highlights inside of this channel, and folks are really just crushing this thing, right? First, it's 5-figure, 6-figure month, right? Hundreds and hundreds of points that they're getting on their moves. So I'm happy about that, but that's where the action is. So these videos are for that group. That group is where I pull 50 people that I'm working with to get them to 100K status every month. You know who you are, and those in the Discord knows who some of them are. And we're happy to continue to push this thing to the next level. So the talk of the town is going to center around shifts in the market, right? There's seasonality, there's shifting happening with portfolios and etc. And investors are really interested in escaping the retracement, the rebalancing that is necessary in the market. Okay, so energy utilities, well, that's what, when sectors rotate, that's the obvious area, especially those who are value investors such as Warren Buffett. There's no secret there, right? They trumped tech for some good investments there. So not everyone followed the tech crowd. Berkshire held no stake in Nvidia, trimmed its stake in Apple, upped its stake in Chevron and Oxy, right? And he wasn't the only one, right? We've got Third Point also moving their, sold off their entire stake in Google, right? And cut back their exposure in Microsoft, Amazon, Taiwan Semiconductors, opting to add what, you guessed it, energy into its portfolio a little heavier, right? And Vistra Corp. Now, the fund also opened a new position in more hydrocarbon investments there, EQT. So that's an indication there, guys, of sector rotation. Now, by the time you get it, now the good news is we're coming off of OPEX, so you're not too late. But if you're really right now, if you're literally right now not trading the market, then you're missing some great moves. I mean, as I record this, the market is around that 50-14 area. We'll talk about that, but you've already missed, a solid 10, 15 points off the market on a retracement, right? And the retracement came just on the buy up from, the hold from Monday, and then chipping around, not really aggressive, but the retracement came from after Friday's dump. And so we're just kind of now seeing our second leg. So the good news is if you're aware of that, then you know why it's happening. And we'll get to those numbers in a minute, but it's really important for you to understand when you're day trading, don't just be so caught up on, let me catch the move. You need to understand why it's happening. If you understand why it's happening, why the move is happening, you can answer the number one question that you should be asking yourself right before and while you're in a trade, and that's where are we going, all right? So now we're talking about consumer stocks, right? Several consumer stocks fell out of good favor, right? So persistent inflation and this is no secret, right? High interest rates in the U.S., it's going to give some investors pause when it comes to consumer focused businesses, right? So automotive, travel, home improvement, restaurant, and that's pretty simple, right? When inflation is high, who's going out to eat as much, right? Who's doing home improvement projects as much, right? So you got to keep that in mind, right? And so many companies, they are selling off, such as others, not just Berkshire, but Jim Simmons, Quant Focus, Renaissance Technologies sold all but a fourth of the American Airlines position that it held there. Pershing Square cut more than 80% of its position in Lowe's, all right, leaving those guys over there with about 1.2 million shares in a home improvement company. And they started to pair that with Chipotle. So they're moving some things around, right? Nike and Ford were big aggregate losers in terms of shares sold. Again, automotive, right? Automotive and consumer stock, right? According to Bloomberg. Some signs of optimism about home building, though. There were signs that investors may be seeing an improved outlook for the home building market amid hopes that the interest rate would fall once the Fed starts its cut, from to the benchmark rate. Now, Fed officials have started discussing the possibility of rate cuts in recent months, though they've said that they're waiting for clear evidence that inflation is under control. So they're back to this wait and see thing. Now, they were optimistic in October last year going into the holiday season that we got some rate cuts coming, which has really added fuel to this what could be called the end of year Santa rally. However, they've changed their tones because of, obviously CPI numbers and other numbers, labor numbers, right? These numbers are affecting their plans. And it's going to have to really force them to make some decisions. So another big boy out there, Pershing Square increases investment in real estate development and management company. Howard Hughes, about 2 million shares. Tepper's got in the home building products company Masco. They up their position there. Flooring manufacturer Mohawk Industries, and etc. Insulation and glass company Owens Corning. Right. Berkshire exited the 5.9 million shares it owned of residential construction company DR Horton. So we can clearly see where Warren's mind is. All these things to him signal recession, signal downturn, signal rebalancing. And what Wall Street wants to do is you don't want to be in the wrong side of a trade or the wrong side of the market shifting, right? So, and you don't want to be late to it. So again, these are the big boys. Okay, so think about it. Now, what's the number one rule to investing, right? The number one rule to investing, someone's going to say, well, it's risk management. No, that's wrong. That would be number two. You definitely want to protect your capital. Number one rule is follow big money. You have to understand why the market is moving the way it's moving. And I'm giving you who's moving it. I'm giving you the what's what and why it's moving so that you can understand where your position should be. All right. Well, let's talk about Nvidia. It submitted its first 13F filing. It recently overtook Alphabet, Google, as the third largest U.S. company by market value. Submitted its first ever 13F last week, showing investments in 5 publicly traded companies. All right, the biggest Nvidia holding in dollar value terms at the end of the fourth quarter was a semiconductor designer ARM Holdings. That's no secret. And it went public in September of last year, in the latest U.S. initial public offering and it was the largest since 2021. So now Nvidia held about 1.95 million shares. It fluctuates, but about 1.96 million shares in ARM, valued at 143 million at the end of the quarter. All right. They also had some stakes in some other companies, right? And so they're, one of their larger stakes, Recursion, represented its second largest holding value at nearly 76 million. So, again, this is notable because you can see where Nvidia is kind of putting their, and all these stocks popped too when Nvidia announced this, and when analysts found this information out. All these stocks popped, and it makes sense. Nvidia is really, like many other investors, really going all in AI generated technologies and the like. Okay, so these are the earnings for the week. Okay, now we're going to talk about two of these guys that obviously Nvidia is on deck, right? That's no secret. But two of them, I'm going to give you a little play-by-play. We're going to talk about the spotlight for them and how you can look for a little setup. And you can look for some nice profits on them if you get it right this week. But we've got Nvidia coming out, right? You've got Walmart, you've got Home Depot coming out as well, and some others that I really like, Palo Alto, Intuit, right? And so let's get to it so that we can iron it out and get some good setups here. So these are two earnings that we're going to be looking at: Home Depot and Walmart. All right. Again, we don't care whether the stock market goes up or down. We need to know why it's moving and then capitalize on the move. That's it. So some new traders can't trade puts. You need to learn how to do that. They don't understand how to short, or they don't know where we're going, and they only want to catch it when it's up. You're going to get cooked. All right. What you should be trying to ask yourself is, where are we going? All right. So let's talk about Home Depot. Home Depot kicks off a busy stretch of retail earnings. Now the company is going to disclose its fourth quarter results ahead of Tuesday's open. Analysts on average expect 16%, a share, rather, they expect the home improvement chain to report earnings of $277 per share, down 16% year over year. All right. So in all, everyone expects kind of Home Depot, although some have it at a hold, it does remain in a buy. They're kind of looking at the home sale numbers and the investment, or rather the CPI numbers, and they're going to be betting that they're going to have slightly higher earnings per share, about $2.79 for Home Depot's fourth quarter. Now, this is what the note to investors said, that we continue to see solid demand for home improvement products, although the market has declined from peak levels when interest rates were very low and families were very focused on their homes. While Home Depot is indeed facing short-term challenges, it remains at a buy rating. Investors who do not own the shares may look to buy on weakness in what could be a few choppy quarters for Home Depot's home improvement spending. I think Home Depot sells off. I think you see some downside to Home Depot. So personally, I'm looking to play some puts on Home Depot and short that. Okay. That's just my take. This is probably one of the first times where, even though it's rated as a buy rating, I'm not totally agreeing with analysts on Wall Street. I think it gets hammered as well. Okay. Walmart. Walmart is another blue chip stock on the earnings calendar. They're going to report ahead of Tuesday's open. Analysts also say we believe Walmart generated good momentum in the fourth quarter despite the topsy-turvy spending backdrop throughout the period. The details of its upcoming Q4 print and 2024 outlook should provide more optimism on the sustainability of its recent share gains and its future potential. Walmart has accumulated a total return of about 7.4% for the year to date, outperforming just the S&P in general, almost a couple of percentage points. Walmart stock is now hovering around $170 per share, but that figure could change when the company undergoes a 3-for-1 stock split after Thursday close. I also see Home Depot reacting preemptively to that and selling off a little bit there. So 2 positions there that you can catch for a nice little move. I will be doing it as well, and I will be tracking it and seeing how those positions cook. I'm not looking for much, but if we get a larger move, I'll be happy with that. You can look forward to that in the Swings channel. Now, let me pause right here to tell you what you need to do if you are if you're joining me for the first time and you don't understand where to get training and development. Then just go here, thewealthwellstraining.com. You can take the training one at a time or in bundles to understand how to trade the right way. If you have a full-time job, you are sitting in a unique opportunity and unique challenges. You need a guide to help you along the way. And then there are some digital setups, digital training paired with this that's going to help you crush the market. You've got indicators here, the VVP indicator. We'll talk about that in a minute, how superior it is. The volume profile by the Wealth Wells, how superior that is. And of course, all of the links to everything that I talk about is also going to be on my link tree here and my KD setup. My latest one, putting the VVP indicator to work to make 6 figures. We got people going to the bank with just my levels, just the volume profile, and just the VVP indicator on the screen. How do I use it? How do I use it for all these setups? It's so powerful, and I detail that here. All right, so that's where you go for the training there. Let's get back to our weekly prep. Okay, so at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at our levels. Of course, I'm going to give you levels for the futures and ES. You need to transfer those over to SPX and SPY, and we can do that now. So, all right, we got the VVP indicator. We've got the volume profile cooking, all right? And we can clearly see our levels from last week and this week aligning and shifting, some areas of interest as well, and my levels agree. This is a thing of beauty. Personally, myself, I took this trade right here. Very simple, level to level. Nice trade. Easy peasy, right? So to the upside, 50.29. To the downside, 50.12. And all the levels in between. I won't state them individually. You'll have to pause the video here. You can grab them. So 50.29.50, 50.28.75, etc. To the downside, I'm looking at this area of interest holding here. This is around that 5,000 and trading in this area. So I've already taken this trade here. What I'm looking to see the market do is trade in this area for breakdowns around the 3 and 6 o'clock time frame, and for us to respond. If we get a hold, I do not see the market coming above this volume area here. This my area of interest at 50.44, unless there's a catalyst, and then ultimately I do see us breaking down even more. Now, personally, I think we come very, very, very deep into the market when it's all said and done. We've got the the market has to pull pretty aggressively. This is a stretch. It's not going to do it tomorrow, but 45, 4,600, 45.90s in that area, that's a ways off, but the market will rebalance. Now, when? Could be mid-year, could be backside of the year, but it's got to balance. Now, that's not to say we won't see some retracements in there. That's not to say we won't, it won't be some time before we get there. But I could see this thing coming back over the next 5 days. I could see us hitting 48.50, 48.70, 48.80 area, right, before we see a retracement, maybe even 48.20 before we see a retracement and a move back up to the upside, and then we make our second leg to the downside. So that's in the future. Right now, though, these are my levels that I'm going to be using. Now, I'm going to talk to you in a minute about my thesis for the week so that we can get this thing right and make some bank. All right. So let's talk about what people are saying about me in this Discord. Be quick. Nice fella left a nice testimonial, heartfelt and honest. He said, I felt a need to do a new testimonial based on my challenging journey in this Discord. I work full-time 9 months out the year. When I started in Discord, I soon entered my off time, starting with a very small balance. Having completed the training 4.5, I grew my account by 10x very quickly. Having the camaraderie and shared struggles, Katie's leadership, I fell in love with this Discord and saw my growth and confidence gaining steam. Then I entered my work period, went back into the office or started to work. And normally that's going to do some things to you, which is why I wrote the book. This is why I wrote the book, How to Day Trade with a Full-Time Job, because I've been there. I understand what happens to the mind when you have to trade and work, right? And he continues, I thought I was prepared to continue my success without being able to spend any time in the live Discord other than sticking my head in here and there, but I was wrong. I took more than my share of fastballs to the head in his account. I eventually decided to give Katie's book on trading with a full-time job a chance, expecting setups. I got a wake-up call on disciplined trading. The light bulb went off. The setups were great too, but by the way, at the end of the book, but they and nothing else matters if you don't respect how hard trading can be if you don't first get the training. I agree with that, and this is a great big chunk of mental preparedness. I've been able to turn around my account. Good. I'm taking it slow because we do this every day. So what's the rush? I've learned to implement this approach, and I'm scaling up. If you're not in this Discord and on the fence, jump in because you will love the journey and won't regret it. We like to keep it small. I'm not trying to make the Discord super large. So we prune the Discord, we waitlist folks, we kick people out, all that kind of cool stuff to help us keep the right people around. But those who are sticking around in this Discord, my goodness, they are getting some nice returns and learning some things about themselves, trading effectively. That's what we're about in here, okay? What are we using? The VVP indicator, I showed you that. All right, levels, signals, areas of interest. I show you how all that's done. Volume profile, I showed you that. And really, I even detail in this training right here, putting the VVP indicator to work, right? Anyone can take my setups. You don't have to take them in order. You can pick and choose, pick and pop. It's up to you. But if you want to go to the bank and literally set it and forget it, literally sit there and just wait for the trade to scream at you, this is what you need to be using, all right? So what free training do you have available to you? Well, I want you to go look at our sister channel, the Wealth Wars Podcast. Just listen to it. It's free game here on YouTube. How to become a comeback king or queen. This individual near Tweeby that we've worked with, over 130,000, likely around 200 grand made now. Profits that they lost somewhere else, found me, learned how to trade the right way, made them back, and then some. And then watch this video. The number one indicator for day traders. The number one indicator, that's going to be the VVP indicator. It's going to have these shaded areas, signals, etc. on your screen so that you can crush this thing and take it to the next level. All right, let's take a look at the charts here and let's discuss the trade plan. Super simple. I'm expecting this move to complete itself. My trigger would be 50.12, 50.11, 50, right? This is my trigger in this area here. Once I see the market break down, it is nearly inevitable that it will have to come down into the 5,000 area where we will see a shift in volume and rebalancing, right? So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the shifts in volume to stay here, right? I'm looking for, I love a shift in volume in the area of interest to start appearing on my screen, and then for this thing to kind of maneuver and adjust so that we can take it even deeper, right? I don't expect anything till 5009. So right around this area here, I don't expect any shifts in volume. So from where we are, if you're still in your trade and you want continuation, I think that we test. I'm waiting for this volume here to dissipate. Once I see the volume there dissipate and shift, and then the hold is good. But ultimately, I'm still in my trade. I have no reason to get out. All right, I'll keep my stop around this 5016 area and then just trail it out. If once we break and close, then I'll continue that. For the backside of the week, as the data prints, right, then I'm just going to be trading my key levels, right? So I'm going to have to break down past this area of interest. That's the first thing. We break down past there 4985 and then down to 4954 to the backside of the week. Here's my areas of interest here for buy and sell volume, okay? The market is getting a nice little move here. Nice little move, and it's underway. All right, yep, there it goes. Okay, so those of you guys in the Discord trading this right now, excellent job, right? You already know what I'm going to do, all right? And let's just keep this train rolling. That's what the plan is for the week. Paid training, we talked about it. KD setups, thewealthwellstraining.com, thewealthwellstraining.com/ebook. That's for all the information that you need there. Here's our tools right there, right? You click the links below here. And that's it. Market events are done. We've talked about what people are saying about the training, the levels, this week's trading plan. I'm going to leave you with this from Warren Buffett. Invest in as much of yourself as you can. You are your own biggest asset by far. Thewealthwellstraining.com. Let me help you take it to the next level. Let's crush this thing this week. KD, signing out.